Hello and welcome or welcome back to Unwinding Minds. If you're new here, hello, I'm Rosie. I'm a UK-based counsellor specialising in supporting clients who live with chronic illness and disability, something that I also live with myself. If you're watching this video, it's probably because you're preparing for your very first counselling session. Maybe you're feeling really excited about this, or a little nervous, or even just wondering what to expect. That's all completely natural, and today I want to gently walk you through what that first session is usually like. Then we'll talk about how you might be feeling, and then we'll look at some ways to show yourself a little bit of kindness as you begin this journey. I know that starting to go to counselling can feel like a really big step. For many people, the idea of starting counselling is a mixture of exciting and intimidating. I know that half of the battle when you're nervous is just knowing what to expect. So let's dive in and explore it together. So, first of all, let's talk about what counselling actually is. I imagine that you already have a certain picture in your mind of how it will look or feel at your first session, but I warmly urge you to remember that sometimes what we picture happening doesn't marry up with what actually ends up happening. This is really crucial to remember, especially if you're worried about getting counselling wrong or saying the wrong thing to your counsellor. Equally, we can sometimes radically underestimate how far-reaching the impact of the work can be. Counselling is, after all, a powerful support for change and for growth. At the heart of it, counselling sessions are a safe and confidential space where you can explore all of your thoughts and your feelings with somebody who is trained to listen, support, and to help you make sense of things. It isn't about being judged or being told what to do. It's about having someone alongside you as you navigate whatever you're going through. It looks different for everyone. Sometimes counselling helps us to untangle painful thoughts and feelings, and sometimes it's about discovering recurring patterns in your life that are holding you back. And at other times, it's simply a space where you can breathe freely and be your authentic self, to lay down the burden of pretending that you're okay when inside you're quietly suffering quite a lot. It's a journey of hope and healing and reclaiming your inner peace. And it's very hard to actually describe how this process feels to someone who's not experienced it before. So I encourage you to keep an open mind to whatever experiences you end up having, because they're likely to look different whoever you ask. One approach you may come across, and which many therapists draw upon, is called person-centered counselling. It happens to be the approach that I was trained in. This way of working sees that you are the expert on your own life, and that given the right supportive conditions, empathy, genuine respect, and understanding, you have a natural capacity to grow and heal. The counsellor isn't there to direct you or to give you a script that you must follow. Instead, they walk beside you, offering you warmth and acceptance so that you can discover your own way forward. It's what's typically called a non-directive approach, unlike, say, CBT, which is more solution-focused and outcome-focused in most cases. And there's a reason that I've personally specialised into working with chronic illnesses and with disability. If you live with a chronic illness or disability, counselling can be a particularly valuable asset because it provides a safe place where you don't have to constantly explain or justify your experience. It can be a soft place to be whilst you're figuring out what's going on with your health, even pre-diagnosis. You can bring in not only the emotional impact of your health, but also the daily realities, like fatigue or accessibility barriers, or how your illness affects your relationships. All of this belongs in the room, and your counsellor is there to support you with the whole of your experience, not just one part. So, what actually happens in a first counselling session? That's the main reason that you're here, after all. Typically, it's a chance for introductions. If you have not already met your counsellor, this will be the time that you do. Either face-to-face or in a comfortable room together, or perhaps online or through the telephone, from the safety of your own space. My clients have always met me first because I have a consultation with them. But if you go through an agency, as an example, or through the NHS, this may be the first time that you've encountered them, which I know can be a bit scary. As part of your introductions to one another, your counsellor may explain a little bit about their modality. That is, what kind of counselling they offer. They may even tell you a little of what to expect during the first session as well. Your counsellor will then usually explain how sessions work and discuss the contract you'll hold together. They'll cover things like confidentiality, timings, payment, practical boundaries. Think of it as setting the frame for the work that you're going to do together. Contracting is an essential part of understanding our expectations of each other, and going over it together acts as a great chance for you to ask any questions that you might have if you have read over the contract in advance of your first session. Discussions about the contract usually happen before opening up to talk about what has brought you into counselling. It might take 5 minutes to go through the contract, or it might take 20, and that really depends on the counsellor that you're working with. In that first session, you might then talk about what's brought you there. It doesn't have to be polished or perfectly worded, just whatever feels most present for you in the moment. For the disabled or chronically ill, the clients that I predominantly work with, this part of the process can also be a chance to talk through any practical needs, such as breaks during sessions, flexible timing, or accessibility adjustments. It's okay to raise these right at the start, because counselling should fit around your body and your needs, not the other way around. And for anyone who is starting, just remember, in this first session, you don't need to feel under pressure to tell your whole story in one go if you don't want to. It's more like gently dipping your toes into the water. You can share as much or as little as feels right in that moment. Now let's talk about feelings. Many people describe the start of their first session as a mixture of lots of feelings. It might be nervousness, because it's new and unknown. When you're unsure of what to expect, this is quite natural. It might also be uncertainty, wondering what to say or whether you'll do it right. Many people are really worried about getting counselling wrong, and thankfully, it's not possible. You might feel relief when you start opening up, because it feels good to finally start talking about things. This is very true if you've been pushing stuff down that you're struggling with. And sometimes there's a sense of vulnerability, because opening up, especially at first to someone new, can feel exposing. It's hard to know before you take the leap into talking about something whether or not a counsellor is actually going to accept you as you are without judging you, which makes it very, very intimidating for some people, quite understandably. All of these reactions are completely normal. In fact, counsellors expect them. Just by showing up, you're already doing something incredibly brave. These feelings typically start to change as you work with the counsellor. And, they might even change during the first session. One question that people often have is this: how do I know if this counsellor is right for me? And it's a great question. The truth is, it can take a few sessions to really know, but even in that first meeting, you can gently pay attention to how you feel. You can reflect on the following questions to support yourself with making this assessment if you'd like to. The questions I've come up with are these: do I feel listened to? Do I sense warmth or respect from the counsellor? Do I feel that I could gradually trust them with a little bit more of myself? It doesn't need to feel perfect straight away. Sometimes first sessions can get off to a bumpy start with misunderstandings, but there should at least be a glimmer of comfort, something that tells you this might be a safe place to open up. If you're feeling judged or not safe to open up more, then it may be a sign that it's not going to be a good match between you and the counsellor. Remember this, if nothing else from the video. Counselling is a relationship, not a friendship, not romantic, but a professional relationship, which is not like any other. But like any relationship to another person, you might clash, or you might find it especially harmonious. Now, if you are feeling unsure, nervous, or anxious in the session itself, you can simply say so. Something like, I feel a bit nervous. I've not done this before. This is all new, and I'm not sure where to start. Believe me, counsellors hear this very often, and it can actually be a brilliant way to begin. We can meet your feelings where they are and work together on congruence. That is, being real and genuine about how stuff makes us feel and think. Naming how you feel can bring relief, and it lets your counsellor meet you exactly where you are. If your session is coming up soon, there are a few gentle strategies that you can use to look after yourself beforehand. You could write things down. Sometimes putting a few questions or thoughts on paper can ease the pressure of remembering everything in the moment, and it's especially important if you struggle with brain fog. Grounding yourself. A few slow, steady breaths, holding a comforting object, something along those lines could calm your nerves. Remind yourself that you don't need the perfect words. Your counsellor is trained to help you find them. Show yourself compassion. You're not being tested. You're taking a courageous step towards looking after your own well-being, and the counsellor will respect you for that. There are also a variety of techniques for anxiety management already on this channel. You might have already watched them, but if not, you might find it helpful to consider having a look at some of them. So, if you're preparing for your very first counselling session, please remember this. It's completely natural to feel a little anxious or uncertain. Taking that first step, reaching out for support, is often the hardest part, and you've already done that. That's something to be proud of. From here, everything else will unfold one conversation at a time, and at your own pace. You don't have to have it all figured out, and you don't need to share everything at once. Counselling is a journey, and it's okay to take it slowly, to pause and to breathe. And if, after a few sessions, it doesn't feel like the right fit for you, that's absolutely fine too. Counselling isn't a one-size-fits-all. It's about finding someone you feel comfortable and safe with, and sometimes, unfortunately, that takes a little while. Think of it as trying on a new pair of shoes. You want something that feels supportive and the right fit for your foot. Nobody wants to be cramming their foot into a shoe that's too small. Above all, be really gentle with yourself. Remind yourself that it's an act of courage simply to begin. Take a breath, know that you're not alone, and allow yourself to feel hopeful, perhaps, for what lies ahead. If you're still here, I'm very grateful to you for spending this time with me today. Don't forget to like the video if you've enjoyed it, or to subscribe and to turn on notifications if you would like to see more videos like this. We cover many aspects of chronic illness, disability, neurodivergence, and mental health on this channel, and we do upload quite regularly. And check the description as well if you are interested in working with me on a one-to-one basis around some of the stuff that I talked about in this video today, as I do offer private counselling services. Thank you so much for watching, and take really good care of yourself.